Hello and welcome to World of Sports, your roundup of all the weekend's global sporting action. I am your host, Joshua Barnes. On the show tonight, Scottie Scheffler storms to the Open title at Portrush, cementing his place as the world's best current golfer. Alexander Usyk knocks out Daniel Dubois at Wembley to unify the heavyweight division for a second time. The British and Irish Lions have beaten Australia in the first of 3 test matches, while Owen Farrell will captain a second string Lions side in their final tour game on Tuesday. And both Germany and England make it into the Women's Euros semi-finals after tense penalty shootout victories. Spain and Italy make up the final 4 ahead of Sunday's final. But we start with our top story this Monday, and in golf, Scottie Scheffler has claimed his first Open Championship title in commanding fashion at Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland. Starting Sunday's final round with a 4-shot lead, the world number 1 quickly extended his advantage, cruising to a 3-under 68 and finishing at 17 under par, 4 shots clear of runner-up Harris English. Scheffler's dominance was clear from the starts, and though he fell just short of Tiger Woods' modern-era record, 8-shot victory at the Open, his win only cements his status among the sport's elite. The 29-year-old American now boasts 4 major titles, including 2 Masters wins and May's US PGA Championship, and is on track to join an exclusive group of players who have won the Masters, US PGA and Open before turning 30. Scheffler's remarkable run mirrors Woods' early career. Both took exactly 1,197 days between their first and 4th major victories. Looking ahead, the US Open is the final piece of the puzzle for Scheffler to complete the career Grand Slam, with his 30th birthday falling on the last day of next year's tournament at Shinnecock Hills. Meanwhile, fan favourite Rory McIlroy, playing on home soil, finished tied for 10th. He was emotional, as always, in front of the home supportive Northern Irish crowd. But on this day, the new champion golfer of the year is undeniably Scottie Scheffler. Well, joining us to discuss this tournament dominated by the world's number 1 golfer, Abhinav Lohan, a professional golfer, joining us on the programme. Abhinav, thank you ever so much for taking the time to speak with us. Is anybody going to be able to compete with Scottie Scheffler if he shows the form that he did in Northern Ireland?
Well, I mean, Scottie Scheffler has been on an absolute run over the last 2-3 years. You know, he was always one of the best ball strikers in the world. But ever since he figured out how to putt better, you know, he's unstoppable.
Yes, absolutely.
So I think this juggernaut will go on for a while.
Yes, and Abhinav, you know better than most what it takes to play golf at the elite level. What does make Scottie Scheffler so talented? You've talked about him improving his putting and his ball striking, but also mentality as well.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Scottie Scheffler very famously gave an interview this week that, you know, there's life outside the golf course, which he enjoys quite a bit. So, you know, he's a great family man. He balances his life very well. So, you know, it's good to see his human side come out through that interview. Plus, you know, I mean, he's just mentally so strong, and he's in such a good place right now that he's absolutely unbeatable.
Yes, absolutely. Also joining us on the programme, Akshay Handa, a big golf fan on the programme. Akshay, it is a pleasure to see you once again. What's your thoughts on the state of the game as a fan, looking at Scheffler, of course, winning major championship after major championship? What's stopping him reaching the heights of players like Tiger Woods?
Firstly, thanks for having me. I think it's great for the sport. Everyone's who's playing golf is obviously very interested in seeing how it pans out with Scheffler, how he's getting more competition. I think it's getting more and more audience with all these new players, with Rory, with DeChambeau, all these guys coming to India is getting them even more audience and popularity outside of people who play golf. So as a fan, there's now more people interested in watching golf and knowing what these guys are doing and who's at the top. And Scheffler definitely dominating in the recent years. It's just amazing to see. Although I did have my bets on Rory to be at a better position, but he did well.
Yes, absolutely. As a Brit, of course, always rooting for Rory. And Matt Fitzpatrick had a chance as an Englishman as well. But I do want to look at that, of course, changing of the guard that we've seen. Your Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson's, their generation, of course, now not hitting the top heights, though still active. Do you think that Scottie Scheffler could lead that sort of charge of new golfers and look to bring new people into the sport, something that golf has faced questions over, of course, with the breakaway Live Tour looking to bring a more consumer-friendly format? Do you think that this generation is appealing to the masses? Actually,
That's what we're looking forward to. I don't think anyone can follow the lead that Tiger Woods has had. I mean, Scheffler also has to have. He has to hold his lead at number one for another 10 years and more to just level with Tiger Woods. So I don't see that happening, but it's interesting to see how far he's come and how far he can go.
yes.
Maybe he can.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to come back to Tiger Woods in a short moment, but I'm now going to head back to Abhinav. Looking at the state of the game, it's something that, as I just mentioned, has been questioned. Not all of the top players in some rankings at this tournament, with questions over the golf rankings. Abhinav, what are your thoughts on that process, and how do you think the game will go through, looking at potential breakaway tours and a PGA tour that doesn't necessarily have all the top players in it? Well, while we wait for Abhinav, I will pass that question over. Oh, I believe we have you now,
Hello.
Abhinav.
Yeah.
I just wanted to look at the state of play at the moment with these breakaway tours and with not all of the top players, perceived top players in the world, currently playing on the PGA Tour. What are your thoughts about that moving forward?
See, I mean, these breakaway tours, they do not play conventional golf where, they generally play 3-day events, shotgun start, no cuts. So that doesn't fall in line with the official world golf ranking requirements, where you also need to have a Q school. You also need to play, minimum tournaments with cuts. So because of that, I think these breakaway tours are being left out of the world rankings, which obviously doesn't reflect the real state of the game, because we have guys like Bryson DeChambeau and the old good ones like Sergio Garcia and the likes. They're playing on Live Tour, but they're still pretty good players. I mean, Bryson might be, the way he's playing, he's definitely top 5 in the world. So it's pretty, I mean, also disheartening from a player's perspective that these rankings are very skewed towards the PGA Tour. So for anyone else, I mean, for even a European Tour player to make it into the top 10, he would have to win maybe 10 times in a year to get the same amount of points. So which is a little disheartening. But yes, definitely, I mean, the world rankings need to look at their system, maybe devise a way of figuring it out to give a true reflection of the game.
Yes, absolutely. Questions still need to be answered. A potential merger as well between the PGA and Live Tour spoken about some time ago. Still no clarity as yet on that situation. But bringing it back to Scottie Scheffler, let's have a listen into what he said after lifting the claret jug for the first time.
Yeah, it's a very special feeling. It takes a lot of work to get to this point in my career, and this was a tough week. It was challenging. The golf course was playing really tough, and I had to focus very hard over the course of the weekend. And really the only blemish over the last 36 holes was the double on 8, but did a good job of kind of resetting and coming back with a birdie on 9. And I guess this one was different than the PGA in terms of I had a decent lead to start the day, but PGA I felt like I struggled a bit on the front 9, and then was able to kind of push forward and win it on the back nine, whereas this one I felt like I built up a lead. It got a little close there after the double on 8, but like I said, bounced back on 9 and was able to keep a pretty sizable lead for most of the day.
Well, of course, this is a section of the programme called The Breakdown, and we are going to take a look at something we spoke about earlier. That's comparisons that have been made by top pros and supporters of the game, comparing Scheffler to Tiger Woods, of course, the serial winner over recent years. Let's just have a quick look now at some comparisons and see whether these comparisons on paper are truly warranted. Well, turning pro, of course, Tiger Woods starting his career as a youngster, turning pro in 1996. He joined the PGA Tour at the same time, on the same year. Scottie Scheffler spent some time in the Corn Ferry Tour, so he didn't join the full PGA Tour until 2020. But look at that prize money, a skew towards Scheffler, given, of course, the limited amount of time he's played compared to Tiger Woods, just a signal of more money now in the game. Let's move forward now and continue to look at some of the figures around tournaments that have been played. Events played, of course, skewed towards Tiger Woods, but we're having a look here at some serial winners. Scottie Scheffler at the top of his game. We know that he has been winning on the PGA Tour regularly, also finishing in top 5 and as a runner-up on several occasions. Tiger Woods, of course, imperial, as we expect of a player who dominated the game for so long. 82 PGA Tour wins out of 378 events played, with 163 top 5 finishes. But to understand these stats and to understand the comparison better, let's have a look at the percentages now, which gives us a clearer understanding of how many tournaments these guys have won that they've played in, considering the skewed numbers. And it's quite clear Tiger Woods has won double the amount of tour wins as a percentage of tournaments that he's played, also finishing runner-up more often. And look at those top 5 finishes. This stat just shocks me. 43.1% of Tiger Woods' events on the PGA Tour, he's finishing in the top 5. For me personally, Tiger Woods has still cemented himself as the modern day greatest, but Scottie Scheffler, if he can keep performing as he is, certainly is going to give Tiger Woods a potential shot at challenging him for that title. Abhinav, I would like to come back to you before we do move on. How inspiring is it, as a professional golfer yourself, to see someone like Scottie Scheffler performing at a level that's even being considered close to the great Tiger Woods?
Exactly. We haven't seen someone play at this level consistently since Tiger Woods. So this is actually Tiger-esque, the run he's on and the last 2-3 years. So it's actually inspiring for all the top players in the world. They're all talking about him, how, it's actually got them more fired up to, try and get to his level. So it's great for the game that, someone is dominating it that way. Because, like we all said, we all need stars, and, Scottie Scheffler is well on his way, and I'm sure he'll win a lot more majors.
Yes, absolutely. Abhinav, thank you ever so much for joining us. Also, thank you to Akshay for taking the time to talk through that tournament. We will continue to bring you all of the updates from the golfing world as they happen. But we do move on now, and we head to the world of boxing. And Alexander Usyk delivered another masterclass on Saturday night, stopping Daniel Dubois in the 5th round at Wembley to become a 2-time undisputed heavyweight champion. The 38-year-old Ukrainian dominated from the outset, outboxing the younger Brit with slick movement and sharp counters. Dubois started aggressively, doubling up on the jab, but Usyk's southpaw precision and excellent footwork quickly took control of the fight. Usyk punctuated the early rounds with a crisp left hand, visibly shaking Dubois in the second. By round 5, Usyk was in full flow, flooring Dubois with a shot to the right temple. Though Dubois beat the count, a clean left hook moments later ended it, with the referee counting to 9 as Dubois' corner threw in the towel. With the win, Usyk reclaimed the IBF belt stripped from him last year, unifying it again with the WBA, WBO and WBC titles. He now improves his record to 24-0, while Dubois falls to 22-3. All 3 of those defeats coming inside of the distance. Well, we are lucky to be joined by my colleague, Thomas Portier, sports correspondent, with us on NewsX. Well, Thomas, some questions to be asked about Usyk after another resounding victory, cementing himself at the top of the heavyweight division.
Yes, Joshua, as you said, the 38-year-old Ukrainian absolutely outclassed the younger Brit in front of 90,000 people in Dubois' home in Wembley Stadium. This leaves the door open to a future of possibilities for the Ukrainian. However, the clock is ticking, as some people do think. What's really been in circulation in the rumour mill is a possible third fight against Tyson Fury. The Ukrainian, who had previously came up from cruiserweight, came up to beat the previously undefeated Brit in their first fight, and then once again did it again in their second, with the two reportedly earning reported around $50 million each in the second fight in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. Now the rumour mill is spinning as always, and there's been a reported about that being even doubled for the Brit to come out of retirement, which Tyson Fury is, and box for a third time. Now Tyson Fury has retired before and come out of it on multiple occasions. And so this certainly is possible, and also the Saudis have been known for facilitating these high money fights. So this certainly does lead the door open for that, Joshua, but what an incredible match in London that evening.
Absolutely. Thomas, thank you for taking the time to speak with us. Yes, lots of questions around Tyson Fury, who of course is currently in retirement, but we've seen him, as Thomas mentioned, come out of retirement before. But let's hear what Usyk thinks about a potential next opponent.
Now I wanna rest. I cannot say who my next opponent today, because I prepare 3.5 months. I not see my family, my wife. Every day I live with my team with 14 guys. Yeah, in one house. Yeah, it's every day only one face. Now I wanna back home. Now I wanna do it choice. What next? I will continue in boxing. I will continue training, but now I cannot say who next my opponent.
Well, I wish I was that coherent after standing in the ring for 5 rounds, but we wait, of course, to see the next steps in Alexander Usyk and potentially Tyson Fury's career. But we move on now from boxing to rugby, and the British and Irish Lions have opened their Test series with a 27-19 win over the Wallabies at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. The Lions looked in control for much of the match, leading 24-5 early in the second half and threatening one of their biggest victories in history. Early momentum came from Finn Russell's penalty and tries by Sione Tuipulotu and Tom Curry, putting the visitors 12 points ahead at half-time. The Wallabies managed only a single score before the break, a try from Max Jorgensen, as they struggled to match the Lions' dominance. Dan Sheehan extended the lead early in the second half with a try in the corner, pushing the score to 24-5. However, the Lions lost their rhythm, allowing Australia to regain possession and territory. Carlo Tizzano powered over for a try after sustained pressure, and Ben Donaldson's conversion cut the deficit to just 12 points with around 10 minutes to go. Marcus Smith's penalty helped steady the Lions, but the Wallabies fought back late through Tate McDermott's try, keeping the game competitive until the final whistle. The Lions did hold on for victory though, and a 1-0 series lead, but the mood was somewhat muted, with little celebration and plenty of questions about how they nearly let that comfortable lead slip away. Well, joining me to discuss this first test and future games ahead for this Lions team, Will Cottrell, a rugby coach, joining us live from the United Kingdom. Will, it's a pleasure to speak with you again. We do go back some way. We've stood together on the side of a rugby pitch at least, but thank you ever so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Josh. It was lovely to hear from you.
Absolutely. Well, let's get your first thoughts on this game. It wasn't necessarily a blockbuster, but intriguing just the same, and questions still, of course, to be answered from both teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was always going to be an intriguing fixture because most people had written the Wallabies off, and I think most of the Lions themselves probably thought it was going to be a bit of a one-way game. But I thought there was a little psychological win for the Wallabies there, coming in so close at the end.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, that confidence that you mentioned, many pundits, many experts have suggested this is going to be an easy 3-0 test series for the Lions. From an Australian perspective, do you think that they will be able to build on this and potentially look towards not just winning a single test, but even maybe clinching the series?
Yeah, look, I think they can definitely build on that second half. First half was they didn't look very comfortable at all. They couldn't handle the aggressive defence from the Lions. Their attack faltered again and again and again. Really, they looked very uncreative, which is unusual for the Wallabies. They've normally got a slick attacking game, but they showed signs of that in the second half. And I think if they build on that, make some changes, I think they need to make some changes to the side and build on that second half performance. They showed that they can hold the Lions in defence, and they can, if they move the ball around the pitch and find space, they can cause the Lions some problems. So I think they'll go into this second test a lot more confident.
Yes, absolutely. And Will, talking about potential changes, of course, another game for the Lions squad coming up on Tuesday. Owen Farrell leading the side after a late call. Do you think after a stuttering performance, there are some questions for Andy Farrell to think about, and any potential shifts that you think could be made to that starting 15?
Yeah, from a Lions point of view, I think their first half was very strong. They blew a couple of opportunities that would have disappointed Andy, I'm sure. I think we'll see some changes in the back three. I don't think the back three have really challenged the Wallabies as much as they should have. Forward pack was very strong. I think there'll be some changes on the bench as well. I don't think Kelleher will have another go at hooker. And I think we might see a little bit more attacking threat coming off the bench in the second half from the Lions as well. But I think he'll be trying to keep it consistent. He answered some critics, and Ty Byrne and Tom Curry really stood up. So there'll be an element of consistency, but I think he needs to make probably 2 or 3 changes to the starting side, and then a couple of guys on the bench might find their way into the match day 23.
Yes, absolutely. A lot to look forward to that game, of course, tomorrow as well for the Lions squad. Will, I'm going to ask you to hang your hat on your predictions, as we were just showing some images and some visuals there from the last time the Lions toured Australia. How do you think that this test series will land after all 3 games?
I do think that currently the Lions are too strong for the Wallabies. I think the games will be close, closer than expected, but I do think the Lions will probably come away with a 3-0 test winning ratio, yeah.
Well, I'm very glad that you've said that personally, of course. It's something I hope to see, but thank you ever so much. It's great to speak to you again, Will, and best of luck for the rest of the season for yourself.
Thank you.
Speak to you soon. Anyway, we move on now and we look into football and the Women's Euros quarter-finals. Italy have stunned Norway 2-1 as captain Cristina Gorelli fired home twice, including a late winner, sending the Azzurre to their first Euro semi-final since 1997. England showed incredible fight, clawing back from 2 goals down to level with Sweden. Goals from Lucy Bronze and Michelle Agyemang, followed by Hannah Hampton's shootout saves, sealed the win. Spain knocked out host Switzerland 2-0, while Germany, despite being reduced to just 10 players for almost all of the game, triumphed over France in a gripping penalty shootout, thanks to heroics from goalkeeper Anne Katrin Berger. The German player of the match has had a gripping journey from surviving cancer to beating the odds in the quarter-final, coming out at the top as a star. Let's listen in to what she had to say about her journey to this point.
I feel like I'm not a really emotional person, so I'm glad I'm here, and I'm glad that I have the team I have, and obviously the time here just makes me proud to be here. Whatever happened in 2022 is in the past, and I'm looking forward to it now to the future. And for me, now I live my best life, and I'm in the semi-final.
Well, it is all set for the semi-finals. England will meet Italy on July the 22nd. Germany will take on Spain a day later, with a blockbuster final waiting in Basel on the 27th. We move on now, and Belgium's Tim Wellens pulled off a masterclass attacking solo run with a 43-kilometre distance to go, powering to a stage win into Cascarone. Victor Campenaerts came in second, while a battered Julian Alaphilippe, racing with a dislocated shoulder, mistakenly celebrated thinking he'd won, but actually placed third. Tadej Pogačar keeps the yellow jersey, now over 4 minutes clear of Jonas Vingegaard, with Florian Lipowitz still in white and third overall. Lenny Martinez holds the polka dots, and Jonathan Milan leads the points race as UAE Team Emirates dominate both individual and team standings in the Tour de France. We now head to tennis, and after a challenging year battling health issues, 45-year-old Venus Williams makes a bold return today at the Mubadala City DC Open in Washington. The 7-time Grand Slam winner said she's embracing both the challenge and the joy of the sport. Let's listen what she had to say.
Yeah, my health journey was very scary. You know, this time a year ago, I was preparing to go to surgery, you know, and there was no way for me to play tennis or play the US Open, or those things weren't even on my mind. I was just trying to get healthy. And then after that, I just took that time I wanted to try to play sooner, but I couldn't. So in any case, here I am, but things really change in a year. They really do.
Meanwhile, we'll head to the weekend's action, and in the ATP 250 Tour Nordea Open in Bastad, Sweden, Luciano Darderi defeated Jesper de Jong 6-4, 3-6, 6-3. In EFG Swiss Open G-Stad, Alexander Bublik defeated Juan Manuel Cerundolo 6-4, 4-6, 6-3. And in Mifeld Tennis Open, Denis Shapovalov defeated Alexander Kovacevic 6-4, 6-2. And in the women's game, a WTA 500, the USA's A. Smith versus Ukraine's Stardubats Eva ended in a 2-0 victory, with Smith winning the title. We move to cricket now, and debut brilliance in an ODI thriller took centre stage this week. Australia beat the West Indies by 3 wickets in the first T20 international, led by debutant Mitchell Owen, who took a wicket and smashed 50 of just 27 balls. He now joins Ponting and Warner with a 50 on debut. In the women's ODIs, India edged England in the opener, but the UK side hit back at Lord's to level the series. A DLS finish, a controversial Beaumont review, and Alice Capsey's exit now set up a tense series decider. Heading onto the track now, and Marc Marquez tightens his grip on the 2025 MotoGP crown with a flawless display at the BRNO. Marquez won the Czech Grand Prix, completing his 5th straight sprint and main race double, with Alex Marquez failing to score a point. Marc's title now stretches to a staggering 120 points after just 12 rounds. He says, "I can only lose now with 10 races to go." Despite that lead, the 8-time champion vows to keep attacking, not managing races with his brother, potentially his main title rival. Brno also marked his 70th career win and a Ducati record 5 consecutive Grand Prix victories. Let's have a listen to the championship leader, Marc Marquez.
For the front pressure, the feeling was super good. I was riding in a very good way. I feel comfortable with the bike, but it's true that that issue with the front pressure makes the life a bit more difficult. But was difficult for the engineers. The fact that yesterday we didn't ride and the fact that we have a new asphalt that is working super good, but the bike balance changed a lot. So we are riding in a very strange way, we can say. And yeah, they expect that we'll increase more the pressure, and was not like this.
And finally, a long overdue moment of glory has arrived for Britain's 1997 4x400 metre relay heroes. Roger Black and his teammates were awarded their rightful World Championship golds 28 years after finishing second in Athens. The US team was disqualified for doping, handing the British team the title. At London's Diamond League meet, Black, Thomas, Balch and Richardson, as well as Hilton, finally stood atop the podium, this time with their families and a packed home crowd watching. Black called the delayed moment emotional and deeply special. Justice may have taken decades, but it finally came in the form of a gold medal. Well, that is all we have time for, but thank you ever so much for joining us on this episode of World of Sports. We'll be back same times next week for all of your global sporting action.
Thank you.